Ethan Miller was notorious in our social circle as a playboy. Yet he became completely whipped after marrying me. He claimed men turn rotten with money. So he entrusted all our household finances to me. Everything changed when he got into a car accident and was rescued by a young woman. He only bought her a bunch of bananas as thanks. I laughingly transferred him $10. 000, telling him not to be so cheap with his savior. I never doubted him until his birthday, when I planned to surprise him. I overheard him joking with friends, "Ethan knows how to play the game, role-playing with his mistress. Give us the scoop. Man. How does it feel to fund affairs with your wife's money?" He grinned. Thrilling. My illusion of love shattered. The playboy never changed, he just learned to hide it better. I drafted divorce papers and flew overseas to inherit my uncle's estate. Standing in the law office, I finally understood how love crumbles before power. "James," I said, "I'm ready to sign for the company." The lawyer hesitated before pulling out the inheritance agreement. "You're aware of the condition? You must personally care for Mr. Taylor until his passing. This means staying abroad for at least a decade." His eyes dropped to my stomach. "Given your recent pregnancy, shouldn't you discuss this with your husband?" Tears welled as I touched my abdomen. "No discussion needed. We're divorcing." I signed with steady hands. James silently handed me an address. "Mr. Taylor's private jet will collect you in 3 days. Sophia. Alone." I opened a clinic app to confirm my abortion appointment. The 2 pink lines that brought me joy days ago now burned like acid. My phone chimed with Ethan's custom notification, "Where are you, babe? Come straight to the hotel after landing, unless you want your hubby washing dishes to pay our tab." He sent a photo of himself wearing a birthday crown. Emma pressed against him. The red bracelet on her wrist outshone her smug smile, a twin to the black one Ethan had worn for months. I arrived at the hotel banquet room 30 minutes later. Cheers erupted as Ethan and Emma drank from interlocked arms. His best friend heckled. After the wedding toast comes the honeymoon. Someone shoved Emma into Ethan's arms. Instead of pushing her away, he kissed her deeply. "How does she compare to your wife?" a voice called out. Ethan smirked at the blushing woman in his arms. "Sweeter." My nails dug into the doorframe. Silent tears falling. The door crashed open as I entered. The room froze. A waiter nervously handed Ethan a black card, my card, to settle the champagne bill. "Mr. Ethan Miller. A lady instructed me to give you this card. You know the password." The crowd exhaled in relief when they saw the approaching figure wasn't me. Ethan always makes Sophie cover the bills at these parties. It totally kills the vibe. Someone snickered. Thank God Sophie didn't barge in this time. Now Ethan can finally relax. Another voice chimed in. The room reignited with rowdy energy. People chanting another kiss. Amidst the clinking glasses. Only Ethan froze at the sight of the black card. His eyes darting toward the exit where a familiar silhouette had vanished. As he moved to follow, Emma tugged his sleeve. With practiced coyness, she shrugged off her coat to reveal a sheer fox print bodysuit. Heat flooded Ethan's veins as he rationalized. Must have been mistaken. Stumbling into the winter night. I wiped frostbitten tears. 2 minutes passed. 60. 90. No footsteps followed. Cradling my abdomen, I whispered through trembling lips. "I'm sorry, little one. We can't keep you. Your father, he's not the man I thought." The clinic discharged me post-abortion with warnings about wind exposure. I returned to our empty penthouse, collapsing into bed as cramps twisted through me. When consciousness flickered hours later, I found Ethan dabbing my wrists with alcohol wipes. 3 family physicians packing their kits nearby. Scared me half to death. "Sophie," he murmured, pressing a kiss to my cooling forehead. His phone lit up as he settled beside me. "That fox lingerie? Perfection." He purred into the receiver. Bring more upstairs. My wallet's at the office, don't play shy. Emma. We're way past that. Ice crystallized in my veins. Memories surfaced of pandemic lockdowns, him crossing quarantine zones. Peeling back N95 layers to kiss my feverish tears. Had to see you're safe. He'd gasped then. Our future gleaming like city lights through his fogged glasses. Now his mistress keyed into our home with practiced ease. Through the cracked door, I watched Ethan rip open Emma's blouse, tossing her a nurse uniform. Ethan, she giggled. My period's late. Be gentle? The grandfather clock chimed 3. Somewhere between the 13th and 14th toll. I finally understood love isn't the grand gestures, but the 1,000 paper cuts between them. Ethan paused mid-motion, his voice dropping dangerously low. Did you skip your pill? Emma's reply came in a tearful whisper. I took it, her breath hitched. Can't I have your child? His fingers tightened under her chin. In your dreams. The coldness in his voice matched his piercing gaze. You'll only ever be my savior. Once that debt's repaid, you disappear from my life completely. His thumb brushed her trembling lip mockingly. This is just a game, Emma. After the thrill fades, I'll always return to my family. As Emma's quiet sobs filled the room, Ethan crushed his mouth against hers. When they broke apart, he offered casually, I'll buy you a condo. Consider it compensation. You'll just ask Sophia for the money again. Emma mumbled, tracing patterns on his dress shirt. Feels like she's the one keeping me, not you. Ethan's chuckle vibrated against her neck. That's what makes it exciting. In the adjacent guest room, Daniel likely assumed I remained unconscious as their passionate noises echoed through the penthouse. The slam of mahogany doors signaled their move to another bedroom. Though the soundproofing was excellent, I sat up slowly in our king-sized bed, mind reeling. On our wedding night under the warm glow of chandelier lights, Ethan had placed his entire wallet in my hands. Where the money flows, the heart follows, he'd vowed, brushing a kiss over my engagement ring. This is my promise to love only you, Sophia. For 2 years, he'd religiously reported every expense over $200. How could I have imagined him funding an affair? The glow of his forgotten iPhone caught my eye on Egyptian cotton sheets. For 24 months, I'd never breached his privacy. Now my trembling fingers entered my birthday 0921. The screen unlocked to damning evidence. 3 months prior, Daniel had sent a $498 hotel booking link with the memo client meeting need reimbursement. I'd transferred $520 instead. The extra $20 became the condoms now in our nightstand. Then Emma transformed from office intern to lifesaver after some fabricated parking garage incident. My transferred $100,000 became the Birkin bag she'd flaunted at last month's charity gala. The final betrayal glowed on screen. A $1 million transfer dated the afternoon Ethan had gripped my hands with feigned distress. Her grandmother's cancer treatments. Sophia. I have to help. My transferred funds now paid for Emma's penthouse lease. Their text thread revealed the truth. Frowny face Emma, why keep lying to her? Ethan, the thrills in the game. Our little trio makes it perfect. I replaced the phone precisely as found, tears soaking my pillowcase. When I awoke to Ethan's concerned face hovering over mine, he immediately pressed a glass of filtered water to my lips. Darling. About that apartment, he began casually once assured of my recovery. Before he could spin another tale, I interrupted. For your lifesaver? Of course. His relieved smile turned icy as I continued. Shall I transfer the funds directly to Emma's account this time? The blood draining from his face told me everything. After 2 years of meticulous financial control, he'd forgotten every transaction still required my final approval. Ethan hadn't expected me to agree so readily. Surprise flickering in his eyes. His gaze lingered on my still, pale face before guilt over his infidelity crashed over him like a tidal wave. Cradling my face in his hands, he met my eyes with painful sincerity. I'm sorry, babe. I should have come home sooner. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. If anything happened to you because of me, his voice cracked, I'd never forgive myself. I studied him intently, finding no trace of deception. Instead of confronting his lies, I offered a tired smile. It's okay. I forgive you. How could I blame myself for falling for his act? The man belonged on Broadway. His dimples appeared as he nuzzled my neck. Let's spend the whole day together, just us. Promise you'll celebrate every birthday with me from now on? His lips curved against my skin. Those years without you, they meant nothing. I bit back bitter laughter. Strange how radiant he'd looked in those Instagram posts with Emma last birthday. Extracting myself from his embrace, I headed toward the kitchen, only to freeze in the hallway. Emma stood in our living room wearing my silk robe, the hem riding up her thighs as she cleaned. Bruises resembling bite marks dotted her collarbone. Sophia! She feigned concern, tightening the robe's sash to emphasize her figure. Shouldn't you be resting? Ethan let me crash here after my boyfriend drama. Her saccharine smile sharpened. Hope you don't mind me borrowing this. He said my clothes were too trashy for your pristine home. Ethan emerged shirtless, his Adam's apple bobbing as Emma bent to adjust her slipper. She blew him a kiss before sauntering out. Wait, he grabbed his keys, avoiding my eyes. Can't let her wander around upset. I'll be back before your meds kick in. Through the bedroom blinds, I watched him sprint after Emma's Uber. The tinted windows rose as their silhouettes merged in the back seat. He returned 40 minutes later clutching my favorite bakery box. Forgiveness pastry? He grinned, feeding me a chestnut puff. When his nicotine-stained fingers brushed my lips, the stench of whiskey and cheap perfume made me retch. Jesus. Soph, he scooped me up bridal style. We're going to the ER right now. The Porsche reeked of citrus air freshener masking something muskier. My fingers found the passenger seat's damp upholstery. Ethan lunged for napkins, laughing too loudly. That klutzy Emma spilled her latte everywhere. I'll make her pay for detailing. Arctic wind whipped through his rolled-down window as I climbed into the back. He kept glancing at me through the rearview mirror, knuckles white on the steering wheel. I pretended to sleep through his 7th missed call from James. The ER parking lot's fluorescent lights exposed the lipstick smudge on his collar, shimmering coral. My shade from last Valentine's. His phone buzzed again with a Snapchat notification as he carried me through sliding doors, the screen lighting up with emojis no client would send. I couldn't think of anyone else but Emma Wilson. Perhaps out of guilt. Ethan didn't answer any calls. You should pick up. What if it's important? The incessant ringing worsened my headache, prompting me to speak first. Did the noise bother you? Honey? Ethan powered off his phone. Nothing matters more than your well-being. But Emma, unable to reach Ethan, called me directly. Sophie, you've known about Ethan and me all along, haven't you? I can't get through to him. Please let me talk to him, it's urgent. Her voice dripped with saccharine sweetness. I held the phone to Ethan's ear. Whatever Emma said shattered his usual composure. He slammed the brakes, hurling me against the seat. The car behind rear-ended us. The other driver stormed out, cursing. Ethan remained frozen in the driver's seat, gritting through the pain. I stepped out to apologize. An engine roared. Ethan sped away at full throttle, leaving me stunned on the roadside. The enraged driver blocked my escape. Pay up now. Bystanders jeered when I admitted I couldn't. Can't afford it? Spend the night with him instead. One leered, grabbing my face. Your husband abandoned you here. Maybe this is your chance to settle debts. I slapped the hand away, tears falling. In that moment, I hated Ethan. Hands groped toward me, trying to drag me into a car. The driver finally took pity, offering me a ride home. As we parted, I twisted off the wedding band I'd worn religiously for 2 years. Take this ring for the damages and fare. Home alone. Fury and humiliation churned until dawn. Ethan never returned. Morning brought his secretary with breakfast and my phone. The damning recording explained everything: Emma's pregnancy. Ethan. I'm terrified Sophie will find out about us and make me terminate the baby. Relax. She'd never suspect. A child changes nothing. But what if you're that worried? We'll let Sophie raise it after birth. Once the kid calls her mom, we're all family. Ethan's call interrupted playback. Sweetheart. I messed up yesterday. Emma was hospitalized. She did save my life once. Eat your breakfast. I'll make it up to you after this business trip. I asked. What are you doing? His cool voice carried a hint of frustration. Working to earn money to support you. I hate working overtime, but this business trip took me to a place with amazing pastries. I'll bring some home for you, you'll love them. Hanging up. I stared at Emma's new social media post and felt hollow. So happy my boyfriend came home to meet my parents. I shredded the divorce papers I'd prepared earlier. Reprinted them with my asset division ratio increased from 50% to 60%. And left them on Ethan's desk. After applying light makeup to conceal my pallor, I began packing. Miss. It's time. The driver prompted. All right. I only took my identification documents, leaving everything else behind. Before boarding, I sent Ethan my final message. Ethan. I'm done playing your games. Let's divorce. I hate you. 07. As the plane ascended, Ethan found himself trapped at a rural banquet where Emma's parents kept refilling his wine glass. The villagers' admiring gazes made Emma beam, though she missed Ethan's growing irritation beneath his polite facade. This was supposed to be a casual getaway, not some impromptu wedding reception. He'd only agreed to accompany Emma because of her pregnancy, a momentary weakness he now regretted. Their arrangement had always been straightforward: money for companionship. When his phone buzzed with Sophia's name, Emma snatched it away, pressing against his back. She murmured, "Can't you spend one whole day focused on me?" Ethan wrenched his phone back coldly. "You're overstepping." His gaze turned glacial. "Have these past days made you forget our actual relationship? You don't get to make demands." He'd chosen Emma for fun, not domestic drama. Women like her always developed delusions, which was why Sophia's genuine affection had been so rare. He still remembered their college days when he pursued the unattainable ice queen on a dare, never expecting her to actually reciprocate. The memory of Sophia throwing herself in front of that out-of-control car still haunted him. Those 8 hours and 56 minutes in the hospital waiting room had crystallized his feelings. She'd earned her irreplaceable position in his life. Ignoring Emma's ashen face, Ethan stormed out. She chased after him, clinging to his arm like a lifeline. He allowed it, already mentally selecting pastries Sophia loved from the local bakery. Behind him, Emma seethed with jealousy as the college student clerk packed Ethan's meticulous order without complaint. "Sophie's so lucky." She forced a smile. "Getting your attention even when she's not here." Ethan's expression turned icy. This foolish woman had exhausted his last shred of patience. While waiting for the pastry box to be weighed, he'd already decided to end this charade. She was too stupid, bound to slip up eventually. "Sir, your receipt." The shopgirl tugged his sleeve with a sly smile. "You should add my contact. I'll text you about new flavors first." A transparent ploy. But Ethan enjoyed it. When this game ended, he already had the next scenario planned: a struggling college student needing financial aid. Sweet. Soft-hearted Sophia would surely approve. He dismissed Emma with a wave, carrying the dessert box into his penthouse. "Honey, I'm home. Guess what I brought you?" Ethan knew I'd be furious about the highway incident. To appease me, he'd cleared his schedule for 2 days. Though difficult to placate, I'd never stayed angry beyond 48 hours. He assumed this time would be no different. unconcerned when I didn't answer his calls. Until his secretary barged into the office, thrusting a phone displaying a second-hand marketplace listing. "Sir, isn't this Mrs. Miller's engagement ring?" The blood drained from Ethan's face. He'd commissioned that unique pear-cut blue diamond himself, symbolizing eternal devotion. He recognized it instantly, baffled by my extreme reaction until he checked his messages. "Ethan, I'm done with your games. Divorce papers are coming. I hate you." The pastry box slipped from his trembling hands. Cream splattered across Italian leather shoes as primal terror replaced his smug grin. Frantic, he dialed my number repeatedly, deluding himself that I'd explain. But I'd blocked him before boarding the plane, erasing him from my life forever. His secretary hovered anxiously. 3 buyers already bid over $500,000. "Your instructions?" "Buy it back," Ethan snarled. "Offer $10 million if needed." When the recovered ring arrived in a Ziploc bag, diamond pried from its platinum setting, Ethan lunged at the deliveryman. His fist smashed into the driver's jaw. "Who told you to desecrate my wife's ring?" He choked the man against the wall. "Did you hurt her? Where is she?" The driver spat blood, sneering. "So you're the bastard who abandoned his wife during a car crash." This was my compensation for saving her from being assaulted. "My property now." Ethan's grip tightened on the baggie. "Lies. Sophia would never part with this ring unless," his voice broke, "remembering my vow that returning this jewel would signal the death of our love." The driver laughed bitterly. "Ever check the news? Your little princess had no wallet when you took her phone. This ring paid her medical bills and cab fare." He ripped the plastic from Ethan's hands. "Guys like you deserve to die alone." After finishing his words, Ethan took the check from his secretary and left. He stood frozen, clutching his chest as if struggling to breathe. The car owner's revelation made him realize what Sophie had narrowly escaped that day. He was such a fool. His phone buzzed with a notification: Emma's shopping alert. Neither of us had mentioned the black credit card since Ethan's birthday. Until Emma's pregnancy test. He'd casually handed it to her for pocket money. Now it dawned on him Emma was the poison in our marriage. That bitch must have said something. How else would Sophie have discovered his perfect lies? Blind rage propelled him to the luxury boutique where Emma was gleefully emptying shelves. The crisp sound of his palm meeting her cheek echoed through the store. "Who gave you the right to hurt Sophie?" he snarled. "You'll wish you'd never been born for what you did to her." A middle-aged woman materialized, shielding the sobbing Emma. "Ethan!" Emma's mother barked. "However my daughter erred. We'll discipline her. You don't get to lay hands on her. Even as her boyfriend." "Boyfriend?" Ethan's rage boiled over. He shoved past the mother, his designer shoe connecting with Emma's abdomen. "Your slut of a daughter trapped me with this bastard child." He spat as crimson bloomed across Emma's skirt. Emma stared at the blood staining her palms, hysterical laughter bubbling up. "I seduced you?" she sneered. "You came sniffing around my door like a stray dog. Don't blame me because your wife finally saw through your pathetic act. Sophie left because she caught your stench of betrayal." Ethan frantically scrolled through Emma's phone, desperate for evidence of her scheming. Only one vague social media post hinted at our connection. Emma, now curled on the marble floor, rasped, "Keep lying to yourself. Sophie's gone because of you." In truth, Emma never wanted Sophie's place. She'd only started subtle taunts after realizing Sophie knew. Her dreams were simple: siphon enough money and secure a trust fund baby. Now, publicly branded a homewrecker with her womb emptied. Even those crumbs were dust. Police escorted the hollow-eyed Ethan from the scene. Later, he wandered through our silent home like a ghost, desperately searching for any trace Sophie had left. Angry notes, bitter letters. Nothing. Only the revised divorce papers on his desk, bearing Sophia's decisive signature. He clutched the document, choking on sobs. He'd reveled in Sophie's devotion while sampling other women's flavors, stupidly believing mistresses could coexist with marriage. The thrill of using our joint account for hotel rooms now curdled in his gut. How had he missed the signs? The memory struck like lightning, that familiar silhouette outside the lounge on his birthday. While he'd been tangled with Emma, Sophie had stood mere feet away, separated only by glass. His hands shook as he reread the cold finality of Sophia in black ink. The weight of regret and guilt crashed over him in waves. Ethan had never given up searching for me, but each attempt ended in disappointment. He couldn't bear the emptiness of our home, drowning himself in alcohol night after night. One evening, stumbling drunk, he knocked over the living room trash can. Amid scattered shreds of divorce papers, he found the pregnancy test. His entire demeanor transformed, tears welling in his eyes. Ethan gripped his secretary's shoulders with desperate intensity. "Sophia and I have a child." The defeated man vanished, replaced by frantic determination as he scrambled to his feet. "Keep searching. Our baby needs a father. If I don't give up, I'll find Sophia someday. I'll apologize properly, and we'll finally be a family." The secretary discreetly rolled his eyes, withholding the abortion records he'd uncovered. The company payroll depended on maintaining Ethan's delusion. What Ethan never grasped was this simple truth: if I didn't want to be found, no one could trace me. My private jet landed at a secluded estate where I finally met the mysterious uncle from mother's side. The elderly man scrutinized me with obvious skepticism. "This is my sole blood relative? Handing my empire to some weepy divorcee sounds like corporate suicide." His brutal honesty became my salvation. My days overflowed with finance seminars, negotiation workshops, and leadership retreats. Grieving failed romance became a luxury I couldn't afford. Only after earning Uncle's approval did I realize how petty my past heartaches seemed compared to building something lasting. Over tea during my first major deal celebration, Uncle shared his story. Kidnapped as a child, he clawed his way to power abroad, a rise that cost him his wife and daughter in gang retaliation. "Old men grow sentimental," he chuckled, refilling my cup. "When I wondered about family roots, my team found you. Initially disappointed you'd prioritized pregnancy over opportunity, until you changed your mind an hour before James' departure." His eyes twinkled. Fate works in curious ways. Gratitude warmed my chest, for Uncle's second chance, and for my past self who'd walked away. Ethan's 5-year search failed because I'd requested the information blackout. With each boardroom victory, I understood clearer: the power to decline champagne toasts beats begging for basic respect. 5 years later, during market research for overseas expansion, I booked our team's celebratory dinner at the city's finest hotel. The waiter refused my credit card. "Your check's been settled, Ms. Clark." Ethan materialized like a ghost, voice trembling. "Sophia, 5 years. You're finally here." I turned calmly. His gaze held desperate hope, fingers brushing mine. "I've changed. No more women. No more lies. Come home, please." "Impossible." My voice stayed steady. "Sign the papers, Ethan. Let's spare each other further pain." His palm cracked against his own cheek. "One mistake. You'd throw away our love for one stupid." "Not a mistake," I corrected gently. "A choice. And I chose freedom." As security escorted him out, I adjusted my blazer. The champagne flute in my hand sparkled, untouched. Across the restaurant, executives raised coconut water toasts in my honor. No coaxing, no coercion, just quiet power, sweeter than any lover's whisper. The crowd around us grew larger, but Ethan remained unfazed, stubbornly demanding answers. If he wanted answers, I'd give them. Staring at his face, I sneered coldly. "What right do you have to yell at me? You blame me for not giving you chances. But I gave you countless opportunities. From the depths of memory, I re-examined my younger self who'd been battered and bruised. On your birthday, if you chased after me the moment you realized something was wrong with that black card, I would have stayed through tears to hear your explanation. But you didn't. That fox costume had already stolen your attention. When you cared for me during my fever that night, I almost convinced myself to pay Emma to leave, to pretend everything was fine. But you doused my fragile hope with ice water, forcing me to see the truth. A man who'd summon his mistress for midnight services wasn't worth loving. With every word, his face paled further. But I didn't stop. That day you promised to stay with me. I agreed. Even after falling out of love, I wanted our goodbye to be dignified. But you broke your promise, abandoning me on the roadside without considering how a sick woman with no money might face danger. 5 years hadn't dulled the humiliation. I slapped him hard across the face. I've wanted to do that forever. Satisfied with my explanations now? Ethan didn't flinch, the red mark glaring against his ashen skin. He inhaled shakily before sinking to his knees, tears streaming as he looked up. Sophie, I know nothing can earn your forgiveness now, but for our child's sake, can't we stay married? I froze. What? He gripped my hand desperately. The pregnancy test. You're carrying my baby, aren't you? I yanked free with a bitter laugh. There's no child. His stunned silence fueled my next blow. Did you think I'd keep an unfaithful man's baby? I terminated it. On your birthday. Without hesitation. As I watched despair hollow his eyes, realization struck. I'd once mistaken his wildness for passion, foolishly believing he'd change for me. We've both paid for our choices, Ethan. But if you knew you were rotten to the core, why ever drag me into this? His vacant eyes flickered. No. I truly loved you. Then prove it by signing the divorce papers. Colleagues called for me nearby. When he clutched my sleeve, I peeled his fingers off one by one. I'm not the girl who slinks away quietly after betrayal anymore. Since you won't respect me, we'll settle this in court. I'll make you sign willingly. Ethan stood frozen, whispering, how do I prove my love? The day before my return flight, he finally signed. Holding the divorce certificate, invisible chains fell away. I was no longer anyone's wife, just myself. Reborn. Dressed in a plain white tee and jeans that made him look boyish, Ethan tenderly tucked the document over his heart. Longing etched across his face until he noticed my gaze. Leaving tomorrow? He asked softly. I nodded politely. His smile warmed unexpectedly. Sophia. Live well. I'll be rooting for you from the shadows. Thank you. We both knew we might never meet again. Yet neither spoke another word. Ethan watched me get into the car, remaining motionless at the intersection long after the vehicle disappeared around the corner. 30 minutes before boarding, my bank account suddenly received an astronomical deposit of $1. 378. 392. 732. When Ethan's call came through after 12 rings, I answered despite myself. His voice carried boyish triumph as he declared, Sophie, where the money is, there the heart lies. This time, I've given you every cent to my name. I'll spend my lifetime proving this love. If I endure, maybe someday you'll remember me without denying what we had. He hung up without waiting for a response, leaving me to discover he'd liquidated his company, sold all properties and jewelry. My carefully reconstructed composure shattered. My uncle later asked during our reunion dinner, they say you two burned bright in your youth. Now that he's gambled everything, haven't you considered giving Ethan another chance? Memories surfaced of that winter when his family demanded he marry for advantage. 20-year-old Ethan had gripped my hand under campus ginkgo trees, shouting before gathered classmates, Sophia, I'll marry none but you. He'd risked his inheritance that day to pledge devotion. And in that moment I'd irrevocably surrendered my heart. Now I shook my head with bittersweet clarity. What's past can't be relived. The world watched Ethan's subsequent self-imposed penance, reducing himself to subsistence earnings while rumors swirled. Skeptics called it performative grief during the first month. By year's end, doubters wavered. 8 winters later, society marveled at the playboy's improbable constancy. Yet Ethan cared only about proving one truth, that despite his affair, despite nearly fathering another woman's child, he'd loved me. A momentary lapse. He'd plead. Caught at worst timing. When stomach cancer claimed him in the 9th year untreated due to poverty. Worsened by liquor, his final drunken recollections lingered on our beginning. How I'd outshone every debate hall and academic arena. How he joined the family business early to prove worthy without political marriage. Our wedding day flashed before him, sliding that platinum band onto my finger before crowds. Believing forever possible. Fingers absently tracing the repaired necklace holding our wedding ring, his sole unsold possession. Ethan abruptly surfaced from memories to the bitter present. Frequent reminiscence. He realized. Signaled life's curtain call. People are really strange. They don't cherish what they've got, yet spend a lifetime regretting what they've lost.